Welcome back to FreightWaves Now on this Tuesday morning. It's time to welcome our next live guest. We've got Chris from Blue Grace Logistics joining us this morning. He's our regional manager of regional VP of Managed Logistics. That is Chris. Thank you for joining us on FreightWaves Now.
As long as I'm not the assistant to the assistant, I'm good.
Assistant to the assistant. That's great. So, Chris, hey, thanks for joining us this morning. Always glad to have you guys on here. Let's talk about this scaled order leveling planning that you guys are going through here. Is this aimed at carbon footprint, better utilization of equipment? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, all the above, right? So, if you're a shipper who's spending hundreds of millions of dollars, you have these tools and these pieces of technology that can help you really optimize your orders upstream when they come in. So obviously helps you plan ahead. Now we've scaled that down to kind of small and mid-sized shippers so they can take advantage of this as well. What we've seen in the market, it's usually people doing it through Excel spreadsheets or there's some pinch point of one person who knows how to load plan the entire organization. So we're trying to bring in some automation to that and just build some scale and efficiency to our customers.
So when you're that small to mid-sized shipper, you kind of get trapped in this thought process of like, I'm not big enough to need some of these solutions, right? Or I don't move enough freight, I don't do enough business to really see the return on investment that would come with implementing some of these automation systems. But can you give us some examples of why that thinking is kind of outdated and why this technology can actually work for those smaller to mid-sized groups?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing we hear is, well, I don't have the dock space or the warehouse space to hold these orders and consolidate them. And that's really where we're trying to help people consolidate upstream at the order level, so that it's helping you with your pick pack processing as well. It's actually helping you reduce the amount of staging space you have in your docks. And as we kind of show what the tools can do and really drive out cost, most of the time it's paying for itself, which is obviously a massive benefit for the small to mid-sized shipper.
Yeah, I would imagine, Chris, that you find a lot of efficiencies here because many times, at least back in the day in the LTL, you would pick up, from these massive shippers that we had, for instance, right, and even smaller shippers as well. Shipments going to the exact same region or the exact same city that would come out at different times of the day, even from smaller to mid-sized shippers. And their problem, exactly like you said, is their dock and their order picking doesn't understand what's going on at the order level. And the further upstream you get, the more you can kind of push that LTL. I mean, the purpose of an LTL dock is to consolidate for one region, right? I mean, that's the whole idea for LTL. But pushing that up to the order process is what you're doing, correct?
Yeah, and when we look at those benefits, I see customers all the time where they have multiple shipments going from the same origin address to the same destination address in the same day. And that's just a business rule issue. When you have a 1-to-1 ratio of order to shipment, there is opportunity in your business to do better. And that's what we do in our sales process here at Blue Grace is really try to help identify, a roadmap of opportunity, because you're not going to come in day one and all of a sudden have this utopia supply chain that it's going to make you a lot of money and be really profitable. So we want to build it out over time. And a lot of that is digging into understanding these little business rules and what makes your customers tick. I mean, we all buy things online and you get the option of, hey, do you want your packages on the same day or do you want them first available? Most people select first available.
Sure.
We want to change how the business thinks about shipping product to their customers to just create an optimal network.
No, and that's perfect, and that's great. And there's this little thing that's inside the LTL network that people forget about, and it's called the weekend. And you don't count that. So, I mean, next day service in LTL is Friday to Monday. So when somebody says, hey, we're 98% on time, it's not Monday to Wednesday that they're 98% on time. It's because they're 100% on time from Thursday and Friday to Monday and Tuesday because they get that extra 2 days. So a lot of times, if you're talking to a shipper who's got to make these specific orders, if they can deal with waiting an extra day, they can consolidate those and take advantage of that weekend and keep the customer happy as well, correct?
Yeah, and to your point, sometimes it doesn't even impact the transit.
Right.
With what's going on in the network today with LTL carriers, I doubt you're going to see a true 98% on time anywhere.
Right.
So we also look at your truckload trailer utilization. most companies, if you're not cubing out the trailer or weighing out the trailer, there's space you're paying for. And as we all know, the most expensive commodity in our world is air. So if we can fill that air with another order, another PO, what does that do to the profitability for that customer? And those are just some of the areas we here at Blue Grace look to identify and cut out of people's supply chains.
See, I'm glad that you bring up that notion of empty space, because we're actually going to be talking to another Chris about filling those trailers later on in the show.
Is his name Chris also?
So his name is also Chris Pickett from Flock Freight. So that's coming up a little bit later.
That's great.
That's how you guys link together. But I want to talk a little bit about the benefits of optimizing when it comes from cost cutting, not only from a time saving perspective, but also we're in this market where we know that fuel is incredibly expensive right now. That's one of those expenses that's going to show up pretty high on your balance sheet for February and for March. So when it comes to cost saving for fuel usage as well, that optimization is absolutely key.
Yeah, the theory of cutting out cost in supply chain is cut my miles, add more weight to my order, right? That's the simple math. It's really hard for people to execute. And when you're doing multiple shipments to the same customer and you're paying that fuel surcharge on both those orders, now it just exacerbated the issue. So if we can help ship more product on less trucks, we're going to drive profitability to all those customers.
You definitely are. And is there not a notion that you can lower the cost per hundredweight for the shipper if they bump something up into a next weight bracket by consolidating these shipments? Say take it into a volume spot market contract or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And another big objection you get from doing this is from the sales side of organizations where, hey, I don't want you to interrupt the customer and how they're doing business. And if you talk to those receivers, they don't want to receive 2 orders back-to-back days either. That's more cost for them to receive it, strip down that pallet, put it away, and resell it. So, there's multiple value adds this can bring to the table, whether it's the cost of the shipment obviously being lower, but also giving your customer a better experience. So we try to have this open dialogue, with multiple stakeholders within the organization to ensure that this type of plan will work. And for the customers it won't work for, we just use the business rules to remove them from the plan. So it's really built to model exactly what the organization wants so that as you develop your strategy, you can match your daily tactics to it.
So it feels like sometimes the receiver is at the end of the thought process, right? But this should really be not like a linear process. It should be a continuous loop. And when you change the way that people order things who are eventually going to receive them, then you optimize the entire loop system. What types of conversations do you guys have either with that shipper or at the very, very start point, the person who is going to be receiving that order, to get them to change this mindset and then to start having them implement it into a more optimization?
Yeah, it's a great question. What that really takes is cross-functional communication, which we find in a lot of shippers is just not there. So using some data that we can build behind it, you'll find the 80-20 rule is usually true. Your biggest customers are usually causing most of your pain. So if we can target 1 or 2 clients, put some ROI in front of them, and whether that shipper is going to give that customer back some incentive with a discount, reduction in the cost of the goods, because now both are winning in that situation. That's up to them. But here at Blue Grace, we'll back all of those decisions with data to make sure the business is making the best decision possible.
Yeah, I imagine, Chris, that helping your customers educate and be transparent to their customers and understand what you're doing here is highly important, because as well as I do is that constantly on the other end. It doesn't matter if it's going to arrive Monday or if it's going to arrive Monday. If it hasn't left by Wednesday, that's when they're upset, right? If it ships on Friday and still gets there on Monday, they're still mad because it didn't leave on Wednesday and get there on Monday. Am I right?
Yeah, everyone has these different rules and these different beliefs of what happens in transportation. We'll do that too, because in our optimization tool, we can also help plan the optimal ship date. Like a 500-mile truckload that needs to deliver Monday. Well, I'm not picking that up Friday because you're going to get killed with additional fees to move that load.
That's right.
Now, the receiver might go, well, you told me it was going to ship Friday. It's more about having the data to back it up. Because what we've seen is when we can back up our conversations with actionable insights, typically the conversations go really well, especially in those situations where both the consignee and the shipper are winning, but most people just don't have that data. So obviously what we've seen in the market over the last couple of years is, made data more prevalent, and more people are looking for that actionable insight to have those intelligent conversations with both customers and suppliers.
All right, Chris, it's always great to have you guys on from Blue Grace Logistics. Thank you for joining us this morning, and we'll talk to you guys next month for your next appearance.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate the time today.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, we're going to throw it back over to the wall once again. We've got Zach and Anthony here for a shipper update this time.